the whole show should be great. I mean, we have a stacked card here. We'll run through the matches real quick before we get to TLC and right off into the sunset as we wind down. But question mark, Trevor Murdoch. Who you got, John?
Well, I mean, you mean question Cephas? Because it's Joe Cephas under the mask, people, if you don't know. Probably the question mark. I mean, I like Trevor Murdoch. I do. I'm glad to see him back in the fold. I mean, and if any Trevor Murdoch fans are listening, I do not mean this as a disrespect. I hope he maybe cuts a little bit of weight because I'm a little bit worried with how big he is. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a raw-boned guy and not looking like a typical wrestler, but health is important. But I think question mark will win with karate, as he says.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I did not know that Josephus was under the mask until like literally a week or so ago. That makes total sense. I did not know that, but he's been getting over big time. So yeah, I definitely think he's going to win here. We have Allison Kay and Ashley Vox versus the combination, some sort of combination of Melina, Thunder Rosa, and or Marty Bell. Melina, Rosa, Marty Bell just arrived, or Melina just arrived on the scene, so I would imagine that they'll go over here and earn a future shot at the NWA Women's Championship. So who you got, John?
One of two things is going to happen. It's going to involve Thunder Rosa and Marty Bell winning. And I'm sorry, this is one line that made me laugh, and I'm sorry to any Melina fans, but like I care about pissing people off. But when Joe Galley said, "Melina, she's a legend in women's wrestling," I had to stifle every bit of laughter I had. I love Melina. She's good. I don't know if I say legend.
I mean, she did compete in one half of Alicia Fox's favorite match ever, or Cameron's favorite match ever, against Alicia Fox. So there is that.
Oh, God. Oh, jeez. Cameron, that was something. I don't understand why she was ever in the company. Anyway, so I think Melina's going to be outside the ring, and I think it's going to be Thunder Rosa and Marty Bell. Now, one of two things. Thunder Rosa and Marty Bell are going to get the victory. I think Thunder Rosa will pin Allison Kay because then you can build to a title match. Because otherwise, if Ashley Vox is just there to take the pin, then maybe you could build something where Ashley Vox eventually joins this group. Because they don't have a lot of women. That I'm aware of. They're still trying to build their roster, and they're doing a good job with it. Or I have it where Ashley Vox will turn on Allison Kay right there, join the group, and then they can bring in some more women to team with Allison Kay, and you can build up a feud there. But Thunder Rosa and Marty Bell are going over.
Yeah.
Going over.
Yeah, definitely. One of them will get the future shot of the championship.
I do. Marty Bell's good also. Melina, good for her. If this is working for her in her career, good for her.
Yeah, hopefully Thunder Rosa picks up the win. I'm the biggest fan of her of those three, and I think she deserves the next shot at the NWA Women's Championship. So from there we go to the Eli Drake versus Ken Anderson match here. Nothing on the line, just a standard singles match. Who you got, John? Eli Drake or Mr. Anderson?
Eli Drake. Simple. That's it. I mean, now I got a question for you about this. Which of the two, now both are known for their talking, and both are decent in the ring, but which would you say is the better talker and wrestler? Drake?
Currently? Or just...
Well, I mean, just which would you say is the better which is the better combination of talking and wrestling ability between the two?
Honestly, I think even if you take, Anderson now isn't what he was, obviously, 10 years ago, 12 years ago when he was in his prime in WWE. He's just kind of a supporting character now, which is a good role for him, and it's cool to see him. But Drake, I think, even is better than Anderson was as Mr. Kennedy in WWE. I think he's just a better wrestler. He's a better talker. He just radiates to me that superstardom. I feel like he's a guy that you can build around in any promotion. Impacted for a little while. Then he kind of had a less than stellar exit earlier this year. But he's finally getting a chance to shine in NWA, which is cool. But yeah, Eli Drake is a guy I think that might be doing his thing for a little while, the NWA, but at some point he will be in WWE killing it over there because I think this guy he's too talented to ignore. I think he's really, really good.
He did. He didn't take a deal with WWE recently when they were possibly trying to get him in there. But you're right. I think he could be one to go to AEW because he could match MJF on the mic. He could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was surprised he didn't go there.
Yeah, MJF actually, it's funny. I saw him on a couple indie shows last year, and I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna be big.
Yeah.
It's going to be a bit. I didn't think it would be this quick, but Eli Drake's got to win. He's got, and nothing is Anderson. Anderson, it's great that he's on another wrestling promotion in 2019. He has personal issues. He has, apparently, reportedly. I don't want to speak ill of anybody, but he's had his stuff, and he had his stardom. He had his run in Impact. Got an inadvertent chair shot from Jeff Hardy to the back of the head, and Jeff was, dealing with some stuff, and is apparently still dealing with some stuff. But, yeah, Drake's got to win. They need to establish the new guard over the old guard.
They definitely do, yeah. Eli Drake to win here just makes the most sense,
I'm not smash people over, but no.
Yeah, Drake. I think Drake winning definitely makes the most sense. I have him winning as well. NWA National Championship, Colt Cabana, Aaron Stevens, the former Damian Sandow, and Ricky Starks. This should be a good match. All three have been doing fairly well for themselves in the NWA. Colt Cabana just won the belt back from James Storm about a month ago. I think it's too soon to take the title off of him, so I got Colt Cabana here probably pinning Stevens, and then you can build to the eventual Ricky Starks-Colt Cabana matchup. I know you said you're very high on Ricky Starks, so do you see him taking the championship here, or does Aaron Stevens win it, or does Colt Cabana retain?
The thing is because I watched the Crockett Cup show earlier this April. It's hard to believe it's been that long. It feels like last year. But of course, everything drags on. Nothing against that show, but just so much wrestling. Where Colt beat Willie Mack for it, and then he lost it to James Storm soon after. And James Storm held it for a bit, and then lost on the recent TV. They've been building this stuff with Stevens and Starks, so I think Colt winning would make sense pinning Stevens, but I could see them having Stevens win it. By shenanigans. You have Starks looks like he's almost about to win it, and then maybe you have the question mark show up.
Okay, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
line between question mark and Stevens, and he uses the karate, the Mongolian chop, which I don't understand what country that is. But anyway, he uses that chop while Colt's in the ropes. And then Stevens gets him. That would be my guess. Otherwise, Cole would have to retain because it's too soon to put the title on Ricky. Even though I love Ricky Starks, if you build this for a couple months, a few months maybe to an April pay-per-view that they're going to have, you could put the title on Ricky Starks there and kind of cap off this whole thing with Stevens. But also, one thing I hope about Stevens is he doesn't wear the flesh tone tights that he had before. Oh,
they're fucking terrible. Yeah, he needs to get rid of that shit.
I mean, any wrestler. It doesn't matter who. I don't care if it's a beautiful woman or if you're into a beautiful guy. I mean, I don't care. I don't need to see flesh tone stuff. But yeah, I think Colt winning would make the most sense, but I could see them giving it to Stevens the way that I just discussed right.
Yeah, and I can see that being a possibility too. Either one would definitely make sense. We go from there to the NWA World Tag Team Title match. The Rock and Roll Express defending against the Wild Cards, Thomas Latimer and Royce Isaacs. Should be a good match. This is also their original match, their original encounter on NWA Power a week or two ago was pretty good. And the Rock and Roll Express, between their recent run with NWA, AEW made a few appearances, Ring of Honor, New Japan. I mean, these guys are all over the fucking place, and they're doing very well for themselves too. I would love to honestly see them retain, but I think they might have just put the belts on them for that moment of them winning, and then the Wild Cards win it back here. I mean, I guess the Wild Cards, they wouldn't really give them a rematch unless they were going to have them win it back, I guess. So I'm going to say them, because why aren't the Dawsons on the show otherwise? I'm going to say the Wild Cards win it back. But I honestly would not be opposed to the Rock and Roll Express holding on to the belt for a little while longer. What say you, John?
I would love to see the Rock and Roll Express retain. I would also love to win the Powerball jackpot. I do not envision a scenario where they win. Now, don't get me wrong. I would also love to see it. Like, honestly, it would be great. And they teamed with Tanahashi on that Hammerstein Ballroom Fighting Spirit Unleashed show, and you had all that glorious hair, even the old mullets and even Tanahashi's extensions, but, enough about men's hair. The Wild Card's going to get the victory. And Royce Isaacs, it's actually funny, I met him at a couple of Defy shows earlier this year. He was part of a team called 1% with Joel Nelson. And great wrestler. Great wrestler. Both of them, actually. Both of them are great. Thomas Latimer, the former Bram. They talk about problem people, and how Cornette was the problem person in the NWA. We all know there's problems. We do, but anyway, that aside, I think the wild card's going to win.
Yeah.
If they don't, I would be shocked. Now, because who else are you going to have challenge? Okay, the Dawsons beat, maybe the Dawsons beat the Rock and Roll Express if they retain, and then you have Eddie Kingston and Homicide take the titles. They have some good talent. The problem is it's a rotating cast of people because they have a small roster. So, unless they work with other people, because they're not going to work with Ring of Honor, because Ring of Honor can't even work with Ring of Honor right now, but they need some more talent and some more people to work with, but it would only make sense for the wild card to do it, because then you could maybe do a three-way match at the next pay-per-view with those teams I mentioned, Dawson's, Kingston, and Homicide. Or put Colt and Ken Anderson together at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Because if Colt loses the championship, because they seem to have a bit of an alliance there.
Yeah.
Other than that, I would. Don't get me wrong, I'll pop at the Rock and Roll Express, but I just don't think they're gonna.
Yeah, and I don't think they will either. I mean, it was cool to see him win it, but
Ricky Morton's doing the Canadian Destroyer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I could see him pulling off one more here, but in the end, I think it's the wild cards who take the championships back. Then you get to the main event for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship, best 2 out of 3 falls matchup. We got Brian Hebner as chosen by James Storm for the first fall. Nick Aldis got to pick the referee for the second fall, who's going to be Tim Storm. So yeah, this should be a pretty good match. I mean, I like the way they built it up. Their promos a couple weeks ago on Power were great. And, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This could go any which way with Camille getting involved, and apparently Aldis gave her the day off, but I could see her getting involved anyway. She's had something going on with Bram on screen, another legitimate item behind the scenes apparently, but on screen they've been teasing something too, so maybe that'll lead to something, I don't know. But I think Aldis, he's been champion now for over a year, which has not been stated enough. I could see a scenario where Tim Storm screws him out of the championship, but I would keep the championship on Aldis for a little while longer. But what do you think is going to happen here, John? There's a lot of different ways this match could play out.
Well, also with the third fall, because you said about the refs, there's going to be a coin flip to determine who will be the referee.
Correct, yeah.
It's going to obviously go to the third fall, because this is an adult Ziggler-Cesaro Intercontinental title situation, which how I remember that happening, I don't know. But with that, it's going to be I think Aldis will win the first fall. I think James Storm will win the second fall. And you could have it where Tim Storm maybe counts it and Aldis' foot was on the rope, but the referees call it final or something like that. And then you build something like that there. Camille's going to get involved.
Mm-hmm.
Provided she stops posting distracting Instagram posts. And if anybody follows her on Instagram, you know what I'm talking about. Didn't she use to date Braun? I think they dated for a while.
I think so. Yeah, she was dating Braun, I want to say maybe a year or two ago. I was wondering the same thing, and then I had seen someone say that she was dating Bram now, so she went from Braun to Bram.
God, well, Braun helps out women, and Bram. Anyway, so moving on from that, Camille's going to get involved, and if she doesn't screw over Aldis, I will be shocked.
Mm-hmm. After all the tension they've teased, yeah.
Just the champion had it so much. She whispered something to James Storm on one of the recent shows, and he said, "Sorry about your damn luck."
Yeah.
Maybe she'll be the referee for the third fall.
Yeah, there's a good chance of that happening. Yeah. Very good chance.
If like Trish as a referee, I'd be like, "Great, everybody in the crowd is distracted now." But I would love to see Aldis. I think Aldis could retain, but because he wanted, if I recall correctly, let's see, Cody wanted it all in, and then dropped it at the 70th anniversary NWA show, a month and a half later?
Correct, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was like October of last year, mid-October of last year.
Yep.
Okay. So it's been 14 months. Aldis has been a tremendous champion. You've interviewed him a couple times, or once, twice.
Twice now, yeah. He was really cool, yeah. Great guy.
Yeah, and you met him, actually. Yeah, you met him.
Yeah, just a couple weeks ago. Really, yeah, very nice guy.
Yeah, and I mean, it was actually funny, just a little sidebar thing about when I posted the NWA Crockett Cup review. I'm like, oh, here's my NWA Karate Cup review, and then Aldous, I think, liked it, and they go, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, that's awesome.
But, like, huh. Yeah, that thing got like 900-something views. But anyway, which shocked me. But I can see Aldous retaining, but they are building this thing up with James Storm, thinking it's a conspiracy and all that stuff, and you go back to that NWA show in January, I don't remember what it was called, but where he got screwed out of the title because of whatever, all these, methods. He feels like the company is against him. If he gets the title here and holds it at least for a few months, then it kind of justifies this build. Otherwise, who else do you have?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm trying to think of other heels they could put up against him. And if they have Tim Storm, advertently or inadvertently, screw him over. Because I think they're kind of hinting at it. Because if you remember right, you had Eli Drake and Tim Storm in a tag match. Tim Storm could feel like his only chance is to screw Aldous out of the championship.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe, because James Storm promised him a shot, even though he can't challenge for it again, and then James Storm screws him over. And then you get Aldous and Tim Storm having an alliance, and James Storm with somebody. I'm trying to think of who. I can't really think of who you would team with. But you could build this thing and maybe have a three-way NWA title match at, say, their April pay-per-view if they do another Crockett Cup next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think long-term because that's kind of what NWA's been doing.
Yeah, which is good. I'm glad they're doing more long-term booking.
Well, I mean, it's also just fancy booking. It's the fact that I've also watched so much older WCW, also many older WCW pay-per-views, which I'll actually probably be doing some Starrcade retro reviews soon, including 94 and 99, because who doesn't want to, review Hogan and Brutus Beefcake as a heel in the main event?
Oh, of course.
That was a great idea. And Goldberg and Bret Hart. The inadvertent kick that ended Bret Hart's career.
Yep.
Goldberg didn't mean to. I've railed against it before, but no. I would be... So you got Aldous retaining.
I have Aldous retaining, yeah.
I got Storm winning. I like Aldous. I really do. I would love to see Aldous retain.
Mm-hmm.
I would have nothing against it. I would cheer. I just think they're going to have James Storm win somehow. They can do a fluky finish. It wouldn't be the first time they did a fluky finish. I mean, let's take a look at Dusty's booking, for God's sake. Let's not.
Yeah.
But let's just, consider Dusty's booking with all that. I can see it happening to be a pseudo-Dusty finish, but they're going to do something. They could have it where they split the falls and then they do a DQ for the third fall. But then it would be kind of a bad way to end a pay-per-view.
Yeah, that would be a silly... Yeah, I don't think NWA would do that.
Well, especially 2019. Like, I mean, you could do that with house shows back in the 80s, back in the Crockett days. You could do that because you could get return matches when Luger and Flair faced off in 88. At Great American Bash in 88 at Baltimore. And Luger did not get enough blood, but they had it be a blood stoppage, and then they had a bunch of house shows for the rest of the summer and into the fall. And as much as I don't like to put over Luger, I will say that his run in 88 and 89 and even 90 was pretty goddamn good. Having his best matches easily. You know how hard that is for me to put on.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, yeah, so we're split on that. But I could envision Aldous retaining, and I would love to see it. But I just think the stuff with Camille, it's either Camille or Camille. It was Camille. I always lose track of that. I think she could definitely play a factor. If she doesn't, then what was all this teasing for?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's definitely leading to something, and I'd be shocked if it wasn't here on this show. They've been teasing it since the first episode of Power over 2 months ago, so I mean, it's got to be culminating in some sort of big angle on this show. But like you said, I think all this retains, but I could absolutely see a scenario where James Storm becomes champion, and I wouldn't be mad at it. There's a lot of different roads they could take here, and all of them would be interesting, which is how they've, again, a testament to how well they've told a lot of these stories and how they've built up many of these matches on the show.